Ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of our guest of honor, Rear Admiral Octavius S. Daus, Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines. He is accompanied by Major General Victor A. Mayo, Superintendent of the Philippine Military Academy. The teachers camp in Baguio City. After the Second World War, a permanent site was established in Moacan and was named after General Gregorio H. Del Pilar.
The audience is requested to stand for the singing of the national anthem. Thank you. The brigade adjutant pays his about, salutes and reports to the brigade commander that the cadet corps is formed. In a short while, the brigade commander will give a series of manual of arms. The brigade commander grabs the adjutant to receive the reports. The order, the brigade adjutant gives officers on their march. To then take his post to the brigade staff as the cadet officers move forward to get instructions from the brigade commander. Ladies and gentlemen, approaching the grandstand are the officers of the Cadet Corps Armed Forces of the Philippines. The brigade commander acknowledges the salute, gives instructions, and directs them to their posts.
At this moment, the brigade commander shall bring the cadet corps to present arms, to present the corps to our guest of honor. The audience is requested to stand. Thank you.
Military Merit Medals, 2 Military Commendation Medals, and a Luzon Campaign Medal. He is married to Mercy O'Dowd, with whom bore 2 sons and a daughter, namely Julius Joel, Octavius Jr., and Joanna Jennifer. Ladies and gentlemen, trooping the line is our guest of honor, Rear Admiral Octavius S. Dowd. He is accompanied by Major General Victor A. Meyer, Superintendent of the Philippine Military.
To our distinguished guests of honor speaker this morning, to Colonel Juan Gonzalez and Mrs. Tessie Gonzalez, to Colonel Carlos M. Canilao, Chief of Staff of the Academy, to Colonel Trifonio Salazar, Commandant of Cadets, and Mrs. Salazar. I would want to acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Corazon Abad, the wife of the new Secretary of National Defense. The pride of Baguio City, from the illustrious class of 1966, my beloved classmate, the highly esteemed and revered Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, Rear Admiral Octavius Sino Cruz Daos.
Allow me to extend my sincerest congratulations to you, the men and women of PMA Class 2001, for reaching this significant milestone of your cadetship. I urge you to move on, for the struggle is not yet over. I pray that at the end of each day, you will emerge triumphant, that you have overcome one challenge after another until you finally become officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. To the upperclassmen, your role as big brothers or sisters to these fourth-classmen does not end here and now. On the contrary, such relationship must be strengthened and nurtured further, for this is how it should be for the rest of your lives as PMAers. The handshake you will be making in a little while seals the fraternal bond that should exist between and among PMAers. From here on, this will be the kind of relationship we would like to see among you. Now, to the message of the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and I quote: at the outset, I extend my sincerest gratitude to the Superintendent of the Philippine Military Academy, Major General Victor A. Meyer, and other PMA officers for giving me the honor of presiding over this meaningful ceremony. I congratulate you for successfully bringing forth to these venerable grounds another batch of future military officers who in barely 5 months have been transformed from carefree youths to more responsible and mature individuals ready to take leadership in the Armed Forces of the Philippines. You know, it has been 37 years ago that I can still vividly remember how I and the rest of PMI Class 63 stood right where you are now, eagerly yet nervously awaiting the simple yet blessed handshake of our upperclassmen. The handshake which would symbolize the conclusion of our plebhood days. It was to be one of our great achievements after being admitted into the academy. I suppose how we felt then is no different from how you feel right now. For indeed, it is a wondrous experience to finally be recognized as a deserving member of the Cadet Corps. This goes without saying that recognition also means the end of certain restrictions and difficulties that come with being a plebe? Or is that the main reason why you all feel wonderful today? Today's ceremony marks both an end and a beginning. An end to double timing, heading up, and trotting in the hallway. Nevertheless, it is the beginning of greater freedom and more comforts and more privileges. Likewise, it means wider perspectives, greater responsibilities, and more vital tasks, including those of molding younger men and women who will soon come after you, and sustaining the standard of excellence that has always been the hallmark of this endearing and enduring institution. Recognition is also a rite of passage, something which cannot be done away with. For how can one go on in a cloistered, disciplined environment without gaining the acceptance of his superiors and peers? It is tough enough to survive here with the help from fellow cadets. How much more if one is alone and unaccepted? Indeed, recognition is an essential part of one's life as a PMA. Its essence, though, lies not in the pomp and pageantry of today's ceremony. Rather, it lies in your continuing acceptability, not only by the Cadet Corps, but by the entire armed forces. To remain acceptable, you must continue to adhere to the command philosophies of decisive and fair leadership, a brand of leadership that favors no one and wavers not when questioned. Competence at all levels of command. Leadership that puts premium on education and training. Well, these are the most potent instruments to meet the challenge of transforming the AFP into a more credible organization. Teamwork. For there are no problems we cannot solve together, and are very few problems that we can solve by ourselves. Not one of us is as wise as all of us. Public consciousness. We must be sensitive to the concerns and needs of the people, for they are the ones we owe to serve. Let me remind you, however, that when we say acceptance by the entire armed forces, I mean the entire armed forces, both living and deceased. Perhaps right this minute, you are silently asking yourselves what your Chief of Staff is talking about. What I am saying is rather simple. I feel that there is a need for younger generations of officers to internalize the lives of our heroes, to commune with their spirits, so that we may gain inspiration from their sacrifices and merit their acceptance. This is all the more significant in keeping with the centennial celebration of our national independence. That is why, starting with Class 98, visiting battle sites will be part of the Cadets' annual activities. These visits will bring you to places where our forebears risked life and limb and shed their blood for the love of our country. By virtue of today's recognition, you have become an integral part of the corporate body that is the Armed Forces of the Philippines. And you are lucky indeed, because this is one period in history which is most exciting and challenging for the AFP. Our armed forces is currently beefing up its capabilities to become better suited to meet the demands of the next millennium. Likewise, it is now being counted on not merely to guarantee the reign of peace, but also to relentlessly struggle to win the battles for moral reform, sustained development, social welfare, and environmental preservation. You, members of Class 2001, will bear witness to these transformations of the AFP at the turn of the century. By the time you are already to leave the portals of this great bastion of learning, as new military officers, the first fruits of modernization will have been reaped, and you will be among the first ones to fully benefit from them. For now, however, your main obligation is to pursue academic excellence and training and preparation for officership. As newly recognized part of the corporate entity that is the AFP, you must exert great effort to become truly professional soldiers. Furthermore, you must endeavor to maintain the PMA as a premier military institution, not only in the Philippines, but even in the whole of Asia. In so doing, you must nurture the Academy's cherished traditions and discard values inconsistent with what the PMA stands for, including the practice of hazing. Hazing should have no place in this academy. I repeat, hazing should have no place in this academy. There is a practice fit solely for non-humans, creatures which only follow out of fear. And you PMA cadets are not animals. You have great capacity to comprehend. You obey not out of fear, but out of respect. At this point, let me acknowledge the proud and beaming parents of PMA Class 2001. Your great love and concern, as well as your fervent prayers, have been instrumental in bringing your respective sons and daughters this far. You deserve to be congratulated as much for giving your full confidence to the Academy for the further growth of your children. Once again, congratulations to the members of PMA Class 2001. Similar to the track and field event called hurdle, you have successfully cleared one obstacle, but there are a lot more ahead. You have to keep on going until you reach the finish line. In doing so, this will take perseverance. As Napoleon said, victory belongs to the most persevering. If that is not enough, consider that there is hardly a bar of his music which Beethoven did not rewrite at least a dozen times. That Plato wrote the first sentence of his Republic 9 times. And that Virgil spent 12 years writing his Aeneid. Perhaps you can gain comfort from the fact that, unlike them, you have to go through this experience just once. Levity aside, we now welcome you as part of the AFP that is courageous in combat, vigilant in peace, and a reliable partner in progress. Thank you and good morning to everyone, and quote.
The PMA class of 2001 started as a big-strong numbering to about 18,304 applicants who took the PMA entrance examination at various On April 1st of this year, 360 candidates, including some third and fourth class cadets, reported to Fort Del Pilar to compose the new PMA class of 2001. On the same day, we went through traditional big reception conducted by the second class and third class cadets. Section of class 2001 had begun the following salient statistics. Most of them went to college with 30% in first year, 34% in the second year, 40% in the third year, and 8% in the fifth year. More than 2.5% on the other hand were just in their senior year in high school, while 4% are high school graduates and about 0.01% are college graduates. The audience is requested to stand for the passing of the colors. Thank you. Filipinos comprise 64% of the class, followed by Ilonggos with 9.2%, 8.9% are Cebuanos, and 3.6% are Warais. The other ethnic groups like the Octavianos, Tibetanos, Anjanay, Marawi, and Capacano are also represented. Not to mention a Thai national who joined the class. While all religions are recognized in the academy, the majority of the new cadets belong to the Catholic Church, with 84%, 6.9% are Protestants, and 1.6% are Iglesia.
You're about to witness the unfolding of a very significant event in a cadet's life. After each of the 8 companies have passed before you, the respective 4th class ranks segregate themselves from the ranks to the next formation. Ladies and gentlemen, today the Cadet class of 2001 will be recognized by their upperclassmen composed of you. This ceremony marks the rite of passage from the rigors of paper to the place. Restriction and a number of privileges. In April 1, 1997, this young man and woman entered the portals of the Philippines Military Academy, intended to embark on a prestigious and progressive military career, relaxing service to the nation and people. And lastly, 316 troops stood in the same group during Corporation Day. Now the remaining 230 4th class cadets march before you today, triumphant in all desires, stronger and firmer in their hopes, and ready to meet the new challenges of their cadet life. In every cadet's life, there can be no substitute for the joy, the right from being recognized and accepted to the ranks of the upper class. The mystical ceremony honored the one case of people, The cadet is relieved of double timing and dropping acts. All this will now form part of his glorious past and be embedded in his treasured memories. The fourth class cadet now enters a different life, which is directed to the fulfillment of his dream of being an officer in the armed forces. Records of academics and the burden of serving in the cadet become part of the newly acquired undertaking. Such difficulties propose great challenges to their determination and dedication to carry on what they have started.
Once again, you have heard the sound of attention call, which signals the entrance of the upper class corps, composed of the classes of 1998, 1999, and the class of 2000. May we request everyone to please stand for the singing of the alma mater song. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we can witness the 4th class cadets achieving an exaggerated position of attention, a typical posture of an unrecognized 4th class cadet.
First class Jose Marie Toito Santos Sida. My last name first name.
Paniran tayo. Marci. Mag-relax ha. Malakas pa rin kayo. Sipa. Yes sir. Ayaw mo makapag-shake hand. Yes sir. Sita. Ayaw po kayo.
Pero nandito kami.
Ako pa mag-aabot. Gusto. Ayaw na. Gusto.
Akin na. Nandito na lang. Sabi natin.
Magaraw. Middle name? Birthday. Tarang mo rito. Gusto mo ito? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 76. Yes, sir. Ano na 38. Sa boss. Ayaw eh. Ano naman? Ha? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ayun! Si Ali! Sir! Resap! Sir!
Bibisita ka ba?
Sir! 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 Manawag pagkasinan, sir! Sir! Address? Cadet Batyo. Right. Third class, Jerome. Barrio, sir! Ayaw mo? Sir! Sir! Oy, mahiman! Sir! Nothing na ako mahiman. Sir! Ha? Kailangan? Dapat ka naman recognize mahiman? Ha? Sir! Sir! Birthday! January 1974, sir.
Pinapatanda mo ako.
First name. Tanong mo dun. Tama ka sa first name. Cadet Texas. December 10 ako sa sir.
Ako recognize na kayo matagid.
Sir. Yes, sir. 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 Yes, sir. Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everything about me.
First class.
Red first class. Sana ang marami da. Sidas.
Yes, sir.
Sidas.
03 January 1973, sir.
Sidas na ito. Ha?
Yes, sir.
Saturday, 22 January 1977, sir. From 138 Vendor mga Alden Pagkasinan, sir.
Marcos Morales Station. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wala Quezon City, sir. Sir.
5 April 1974. From Block 5, Lot 3. From Q23.
Memorize para makaplay ka sa
May address.
Pollution West Lamot Ikaw, sir. Sir.
Laki ng laro. Sidas na 940. Birthday. From two kids. My company. My company. Charlie. Company Charlie. Hindi ako na natakit-tawit.
Villa Street, Isabela Negros Occidental, sir.
Isabela. Ako maraming kalaban.
Sir.
Condition ha?
Sir.
Mga boss na. Huli yun eh. Dati ka man ha.
Sir.
Problema mo. Sir. Honor ko. Kain honor ko. Sa laboratory. Yung akad mo kasi. Baka pwede mo.
Kung saan ang kalbaryo?
Sino sa kulay? Sinabi mo no?
Yes?
Yung bingit no? Yung bingit no? Kanina, may ganap sa kanya.
Sir. Ikaw pa naman yung siligan mo magdala sa akin.
Sidas 98. Sidas 998. Sir.
Pa.
Yes, sir.
Sumasabi sa Ricky, say that 10431 birthday, 25 March 1977 from. Pagkagin po sa Lopez, bukas di sir.
Kahit na marami ako nasabi sa inyo. Pasensya nyo na lang ha.
Station Romeo Sida, C-10303. Birthday 10 June 1977 from Purok 7 Roman Paracana Road, Buroni. Sir. Sir.
October 1975 from number
Sir. Cadet, second class, Arlene. Yes, ma'am.
Serial number na, Andres.
C-10130 from Lemusor and Really Cagayan, sir.
Kilala mo na ako, diba?
Patient Mrs. Amanda, you're now needed to deploy.
Sir. Sir.
Taga saan ka? Sir! Sir! Hindi naman ako nagkatulad niya. Sir! Second class, sir. Alam ka, Keynote 10411. Sir! 01 April 1976 from Mayo, was advisor. Just 10. Sir! 447. Sir! Right, sir.
Santos, sir. Santos David.
Sir! Thomas Ryan, sir.
Cadet, second class, Romeria, Langkaon, Cadet, second class, Thomas Ryan, Rigo, second. C-10.
Sir. C-10. Sir.
C-10.
Sir. 7, sir. Yes, sir.
Kala ko, hindi mo na kilala eh.
Sir.
From, sir. Davao City, sir. Sir. Birthday, 10.
Cadet, second class, Yearling Not Yet.
Yes, sir. Naglala ka. Tao, si Lumba lang eh. Lumba eh.
Snapping talaga. Tama ko magandang sayo.
Bilan mo agad ako lang snapping. Ano?
Sir.
Kanan ka?
Sir.
Barkada ko eh.
Pop out everything about me.
Birthday now.
Bago to. Saan mo pinali to?
20 Cadet, it's third class. 20 September 1970.
Ako yung kilala niya. 10715, sir.
Recognize pa kita?
Paano, sir?
Hindi. Recognize pa kita? Tingin mo. Tingin mo. Kailan naman eh. Grade 7 class. Michael Vincent.
Second class. Elmer Hilario.
1048.
Campo.
Bisita ka ba? Yes, sir.
Sala si Paso. Sala si Paso. Wow. Ano uyak ba? Second class. Sala si Paso. Yes, sir. Kasama ko.
Okay, sir.
Mr. Asperger, sir.
Edward, sir.
Birthday.
Sir.
Birthday.
09.
09.
Sir. 03 July. Yes, sir. Wala akong spot mate.
Ako rin, wala akong spot mate.
Complete name.
Little Cadet, Little Roseman.
Sa tabar para. Ilili, sir. Ilili, ma'am.
Little Roseanne.
Sabihin nyo, ma'am.
Sige na. Installment.
Nako! Hindi ko nakalimutan na! Hindi ka lang mag-move.
Bakit, ma'am?
Ano ka 37
Are you sure, 9? Yes, sir. Makakamakislip kami ng tulong sa amin para may problema ka. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kaso straight, bukan yun. Makasih na, sir. Sir. Sir, tinuturo ko sa inyo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
May girlfriend. Find out ka dito, alam. Find kasi wala ka pang ini-endorse eh.
Sir, sa nasa resultado yung matalo maglasag. C-1014.
No, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
Birthday. My birthday.
Namuhay plaza.
Di ba? 6 months, 5 months. Di ba? Tayo, di ba? March ka mo. This late, our birthday. Right?
Joey, sir.
Joey kapirig na kami. Joey katubig. Feber mo.
Paborito ka pa naman sa Ruban. Kilala. Company commander niyo na ako. Kapag din yung office na. Kahit na magaling ka mag-type, huwag kang mag-type ha. Kahit na magaling ka mag-type, huwag kang mag-type ha.
Ano mo sinabi ng akad mo?
Gerald.
My last name, Mr. Senyo.
Salvador So.
My girlfriend. No girlfriend, ha? Talisay. Lawaan mo ata eh. Talisay, lawaan si Guso. Guso. Tagalog ka na ba? Ano yung speaking Tagalog na rin? Hapon na yun. Hapon na.